Good morning and welcome to the Motivational Devotional, where we are merging motivation and spirituality to create a daily dose of confident positivity. I hope that this morning's podcast will help you to be more spiritually and positively motivated so that you can transform your day.
One of my favorite sayings is, how do you eat an elephant? The answer is, one bite at a time. Not that any of us has ever considered eating an elephant. I mean, who would want to eat such a magnificent, intelligent creature? I don't think the saying is meant to be taken literally, though. The point has to do with the sheer size of it. I might just as well ask you how you would eat a 25-pound pizza, which may be a better analogy, but the answer would be the same. One bite at a time. What this gets to is the approach people take toward big, huge things to do. Big projects, big ideas, big dreams. Usually things that are new to me are big things, even if they later become small things. Something I've never done but needs to get done requires a certain amount of research, learning, maybe watching YouTube videos by experts, and then some trial and error. What never works well is to try doing that thing all at once. A person's days can be overwhelming to the point that we lose sight of where to start, much less how to be successful. My ADHD brain gives me a lot of gifts of creativity and energy, but it is also a disability in that I look at a to-do list and it's a pile of overwhelming stuff. I made the list. I came up with the things to do. I set the goals based on my own dreams, and I wanted to accomplish every one of those things, but then looking at it as a compilation of things to do overwhelms me to the point that I just want to shut down and not do any of it. But then I have to remind myself, one bite at a time. If we compare the day ahead to the metaphorical elephant, or even better, the 25-pound pizza, we might not even know where to take the first bite. Do we start at the crust around the outside edge, or cut it into slices and start at the point that was just part of the middle? I certainly wouldn't try shoving an entire pizza into my mouth, regardless of the size, as a whole thing. The comforting thing is that we don't have to figure out where to start. If we step back from the pressure of having to get things done just enough to see our goals and tasks objectively, and stop looking at a to-do list as a whole thing, we can see the difference between what is important and what is just urgent. Instead of seeing a big thing, I let my vision change to be able to see it as a whole bunch of little things, and maybe even those tasks on the to-do list represent even more little things. I have to sometimes force myself to back up from the anxiety that a lot of these things were supposed to be done at least 5 minutes ago, and realistically say to myself that none of them are going to get done at the same time, and none of them will get done at all if I don't decide to do one. Can't we then see some little things we can do that are part of the important stuff? Just because it is important, just because it is important doesn't mean it has to be a huge activity and involve hours of time. It doesn't matter where the first bite of the pizza is, as long as there is a first bite, followed by another. Little bites add up. A beautiful beach is made up of tiny grains of sand, none of which in itself makes a beach. Any person can create a beautiful life one grain at a time. Any literate person can write a sentence and then string those together into a paragraph. That means that any literate person can write a paragraph every day, and after a month or so, that person would have a chapter. After a year or two of writing a paragraph every day, any literate person can have finished enough paragraphs to make a book. Any of us can eat the elephant or the pizza one bite at a time. Inserting into your life what is important will be like adding a little yeast into the dough, which makes the bread grow many times larger, and it will, because all of creation is conspiring in your favor. Trust that the universe certainly always has your back. Children's rights activist Marian Wright Edelman said, "We must not, in trying to think about how we can make a big difference, ignore the small daily differences we can make, which, over time, add up to big differences that we often cannot foresee."
Thank you for taking the time to listen today. Please help keep this podcast going by following the Motivational Devotional Facebook page. following at Threefold Way Radio on Twitter, and sharing the written format of today's message from motivational-devotional.com on your social media. I am deeply grateful for your support, and thank you for letting Motivational Devotional be part of your journey. Peace out. See you tomorrow.
Motivational Devotional is a production of Threefold Way Radio, LLC.